Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney. We have Nidra in here with us. I locked the others out because they're getting on my nerves this morning. But it is day 22 of Bookmas. We are so close to winding down. I think I know what tomorrow's is. And then I have no clue what Christmas Eve's book is, but it's very thin. So I thank my husband for that. And I have no clue what today's book is. It's a hardcover, but it's bigger. So I don't have a clue. Like I said, the only hardcovers I remembered putting in were the Richard Paul Evans and the Mary Higgins Clark. So we're gonna find out though. We did read the next story in Mystery for Christmas, which is edited by Cynthia Manson last night. That was called Whatever Became of Ebenezer Scrooge by Tom Tolnay. It was fine. It was a Christmas Carol inspired. So basically, it's just what happened after the events in a Christmas Carol. Yeah, it was fine. It gave the vibes of a Christmas Carol, but I didn't like kind of where it went. So, like, if it had continued on with a Christmas Carol, but it kind of ends up backtracking a little bit, as far as like what's happening with Ebenezer Scrooge. And so yeah, it was just fine. Again, like it wasn't the worst one I've read in here by far, but I didn't love it either. So we just have one more to go, which we will be reading tomorrow night. And then we'll be done with this one. So that'll be nice to finish up that. And hopefully the last one is good, but we'll just have to see. Then my husband and I decided to go into town, which round trip it's about, an hour, get some food, and then we ate. And then we decided to finish The Butcher's Masquerade. So this is not part of the 24 days of Bookmas, but we have been reading it and we decided just to finish it. We had like 105 pages left to go. And so we just flew right through because, of course, at that point, all the stuff is happening and you don't want to stop. So that took most of the evening up because by the time we went into town, it was already late afternoon. And so we were kind of having a lunch slash dinner. And then by the time we finished eating and such, we started this. And then, of course, I had to stop to feed the dogs and all that good stuff. So this took me to about 8 o'clock, and then I decided I wanted to watch Christmas movies as well. But you love this, 5 stars, of course. Like all the Dungeon Crawler Card books have been 5 stars, and I like we're getting a little bit more of that underlying like social commentary and like the emotional depth that you didn't so much get in the first ones. And I like seeing the character arcs and such as well. So love this, and it is done, so we can focus on other things, which is great. We all, of course, want to jump right into the next one, but we're going to wait until January. And we also, the last Nora Roberts book in the, what is it, the Seven Rings trilogy, I think, or the Inheritance, or the Lost Brides. I think it's the Lost Brides. I always get the series name confused. I think it's the Lost Brides trilogy. The last book came out in November, and so we're going to be reading that before we jump into the next Carl book. I asked him, I was like, do you want to go back and forth? But we need to read that book. So that's what the plan is, and then we'll jump into the next one. I did finish The Shadows of Christmas Past, which has the 2 stories. So it had Rocky Mountain Miracle, which I had finished the previous day, and then I just had 35 pages left of A Touch of Harry. And so Rocky Mountain Miracle is, of course, by Christine Feehan, and then A Touch of Harry is by Susan Sizemore. I already talked about Rocky Mountain Miracle, so I'm not going to do that again. A Touch of Harry, I'm not a big werewolf person, but I really enjoyed it. It wasn't overbearing or anything like that. I like the plot line of searching for these teens that have run away, these were teens that have run away. I really liked in both of these the magical realism element with their ability to communicate with animals, not like directly speaking, but just communicate. Although it wasn't really clear in A Touch of Harry how Marge communicated, because at first it was like she got emotions, but then it sounded like later on, it sounded more like she could actually like talk to them. So I'm not entirely sure on her, but I really like that aspect because, of course, who wouldn't want to be able to communicate with their animals? And I like the suspense aspect of both of them. It was definitely more suspenseful in the first story versus A Touch of Harry. That one was more just about trying to find these teens. There was a little bit of a danger element, but that got wrapped up pretty early on, and it was such a short story. It was just over 100 pages. But yeah, I had a good time. I ended up giving this collectively a 4 star because there were some things I didn't get along with in Rocky Mountain Miracle, and I'm not a huge werewolf person. But I actually really enjoyed this, and I am actually going to keep this on my shelves. So there's that. Let's see here. Unfortunately, I did not touch The Holiday Mix Up by Ginny Baird at all, but this is going to be the one I pick up first today, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Like I said, it's based on one of my favorite movies, it sounds like, or at least has that same concept. And even though, this has been really frustrating me, I think since this won't have the Groundhog Day trope, I probably will enjoy this more. But hopefully, it's just the Groundhog's Day trope in the other one and not something with the writing that I won't get along with in this one either. But I'm really looking forward to this. I'm so excited to finally get to this. So there is that. I did, however, pick up and finish Deck the Halls, which is by Mary Higgins Clark and her daughter Carol Higgins Clark. This one, like I said, I had read The Christmas Thief, which is the sequel to this one, but their characters are part of a bigger series. I like this one because the characters that are part of a bigger series, unlike the second one, they're the focus, like, which makes sense because the one character is her dad who got kidnapped. So that did make sense, but I like that because the other one they really felt like side characters. They didn't feel like they were, you know, trying to solve, like they were trying to solve, but because you were following the other characters, it didn't feel like that, which I actually worked for me because I'm not a big who done it, amateur sleuth, mystery suspense type person. Um, but in this one, they're definitely the focus. And so, yeah, one character, Reagan, she is a private investigator out in California. She's coming home. Parents and her are supposed to go to Hawaii, but her mom ends up tripping over a rug and breaking her leg. And her mom's a famous mystery writer. So she's in the hospital, and then her dad ends up getting kidnapped. He leaves the hospital, and he's supposed to go to this funeral and then go to a dentist appointment, and he ends up getting kidnapped. And so Reagan tries to meet up with him at the dentist appointment because she's not answering his phone or anything like that. And that's where she meets Elvira, who's this lottery winner. Her husband won like 40 million or something like that, and is an amateur sleuth. And so they end up meeting there, and Elvira comes involved, of course. And yeah, as far as like the kidnap plot line, I had a good time with it. We have a character named Petey who's one of the bad guys, and he was a bit ridiculous and over the top, but I think he was a good counterbalance to the other bad guy. I think he was a very good counterbalance, even though, that kind of ridiculous over the top character is not my favorite. And it was just fun. It's not very focused on the characters. These are definitely more plot driven books. But as far as a holiday suspense story, I had a good time. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Again, mostly because it's not my thing. And she has this habit, or they, because it was in the Christmas Thief and then the other book I read just by Mary Higgins Clark. She has these random viewpoints that don't add anything to the story. They're completely unnecessary. And in this case, like, they were part of the story, um, but so they did have a point to them, but it still could have been told without adding those viewpoints. Like the characters could have gotten the information without the viewpoints. Like the one is like this Blossom dude, and I forget the other one, but like that just I don't like those unnecessary viewpoints. I don't think it adds anything to the story, and it's just kind of annoying to me. So I gave this one a 4 star, but I did read and finish it. And then that brings us to yesterday's pick, which of course I didn't touch. So that's the 12 Days of Mistletoe by Jen Atkinson. And I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. I'm a little hesitant because of that emotional support. Um, dog aspect, but that's also what enticed me to pick it up. My hesitancy is I don't know that the author did a lot of research because the whole basis of it is that her downstairs neighbor is basically blackmailing her, threatening to get her evicted because she has this dog, where emotional support animals are allowed in it's the Fair Housing Act. So um, landlords have to make reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities who need emotional support animals. And so I don't think, since that's the whole basis of the book, I don't think the author necessarily did the research, but I'm still really looking forward to getting into it, and I'm going to just try to let that go. But hopefully it's not like too annoying, like that's just the basis, and then she doesn't add other misinformation in there, but we shall see. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So we got two contemporary romances to read today. And my husband and I will be finishing Christmas Eve Love Story. Technically, there's 2 more days, but we talked about it, and because Christmas Eve we're going, I like to stay home on Christmas. Like that's my one thing. I just want to stay home. I want to play games and just chill. I don't like leaving the house on Christmas. And so we always get together on Christmas Eve with his we go to his mom's and his family and such. And so we talked and we are like, let's just finish it on the 22nd. So we're gonna read the next 2 sections. The one's not too long, but total it's 80 pages, so that's gonna take a good chunk of the evening, but at least we're done with Carl now. So we can just read this and then I can focus on my books. And so, yeah, we're going to be wrapping this up. I did see I already opened the sections because I like to open them in the morning so they're ready to go. And I did see the last section. They actually make it to Christmas Day, which you know they're going to do that. So that's not a spoiler. So the last section is going to be Christmas Day itself, which will be nice. And hopefully we'll stop talking about that this is a time loop. So we'll see how it goes. I hope it does wrap up in a satisfying way. So it's going to be a romance heavy day. And then, like I said, I have no clue what this book is. It is hardcover, but it's not the right size. The next, tomorrow, I think, is Richard Paul Evans because it's a hardcover too and it's the right size. So I don't know what this is. We've already read, we only had 3 Mary Higgins Clark, and then we had 4 Richard Paul Evans. So we only have one more of those to go. So yeah, let's open this up and see what it is. I'm racking my brain and I cannot think to the life of me, which I didn't remember the other hardcovers either. Like I just totally walked them out, I guess. So yeah, let's see what we got here. Oh, I forgot about this. Obviously, I forgot about this one. Duh. That's totally obvious. So this is called Christmas Presents by Lisa Unger. I am excited because this is like a horror Christmas book. And so that will be a nice counterbalance to the romances I'm reading. So it says, a true crime podcaster unwraps a bookseller's dark past in this chilling holiday mystery from a master booklet. So it's a mystery, but it's like more thriller type mystery. Against all odds, indie bookshop owner Madeline Martin has built a pleasant life for herself, overcoming a traumatic childhood and the daily struggle of caring for an elderly and infirm father. But in the days leading up to Christmas, Madeline's tenuous grasp on happiness is tested by the arrival of a celebrity true crime podcaster, Harley Granger, a man whose prodding questions about her most painful memories threaten to bring them back to the surface. Madeline is the only surviving victim of Evan Handy, the serial killer convicted for the murder of her best friend and suspected in several other disappearances. Since Handy went to jail, 3 more young women have gone missing, suggesting that either there is a copycat at work or that the authorities locked up the wrong man. As the holiday approaches and a blizzard bears down, Madeline and her childhood friend Badger must confront a deadly possibility. In the process, they'll discover a truth more terrible and much closer to home than they've ever imagined. Coupling a picturesque, cozy setting with a deeply unsettling suspense plot, Christmas Presents is a thrilling seasonal novella from an author that's one of the genre's best. Ooh, I'm so excited for that. And that the one of the genre's best was a quote from Jennifer Hillier. which I have read one of that author's books. So let's see here. What is this? There's an overture at the back, so I don't know what that's about. I'm trying to see. So it's not terribly long. It's 258 pages. So, yeah, I'm very excited. I've never read this author. I just came across it again while I was looking for Bookmas books, and I thought, perfect. So I'm more of a rom-com, like heartfelt, inspirational type Christmas reader, but I do like to throw little curveballs in there as well. And like I said, this will be perfect to counterbalance the others. So we have this lineup for today. Like I said, I am still also reading Wild Women in the Blues. But that one's going to be on hold till that last week. I'm not going to finish it for Bookmas. Obviously, it was a rollover from last month. It's not a high priority, even though it is because it's my last priority standalone of the year. So, but yeah, this is the lineup. So we got 3 romances. This one is just the last 80 pages. We'll finish it up. And then I haven't even started these 2, but they're over 300 each. And then a nice Christmas thriller. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And so my focus, I have chores to do today. I'm fully cleaning the house. And so I won't get a lot of reading done in today. But then this evening, I want to focus on the holiday mix up and at least start the 12 Days of Mistletoe, and then maybe read a couple chapters of this right at bedtime as well. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to do chores, then I'm going to jump in to reading, and when my husband gets home, we'll finish up Christmas Eve Love Story, and then I'll jump back into reading. So I'm excited. Like I said, I'm obviously running out of time, but I think there's still hope. I think I might be able to pull it off, but we'll just have to see. Because I'm going to do chores today, and then tomorrow's just a full-on reading day. And with the contemporary romances, those tend to read a little faster. So I will be back tomorrow to see what that Richard Paul Evans book is. I don't remember the title, but now that I know we got this one, I know that's what that is. So we have Richard Paul Evans tomorrow, and then I don't have a clue what Christmas Eve is. But we'll be back tomorrow, and I will let you know how my reading went today and see what we got tomorrow. So I'll see you then.